I don't want to hear from the Freedom Caucus that they're going to vote against this thing, because they're not. So we could skip the whole drama nonsense, because they're going to vote for this thing. And they're going to, whether they like it or not, I don't know. But after they folded on the reconciliation package, we don't have any patience here to spend any time pretending that they're not going to vote for this package.
Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, where rescissions stand. Number two, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz enters the Capitol Hill chat. And number three, it's Crypto Week. All right, Jake, let's get into it. Before we get to the top story of the morning, we have some news this morning about Speaker Mike Johnson and his big fundraising haul. Give us the latest.
Yes, Mike Johnson will announce this morning he has raised more than $50 million for House Republicans, including $18.65 in the second quarter. FEC filings are due today. We've seen a trickle of them come in. Some of my favorite stuff, Anna, has already come in, which includes Bob Corker, who has been out of the Senate for many, many years, still has $8.1 million in the bank, which I'm sure a lot of people would like to get their hands on, namely the NRSC and the various super PACs that support Senate Republicans, considering it doesn't look like Corker is going to be running again. And also, in addition to that, interesting, or not interesting, but strange to see that Mitch McConnell, who was once a fundraising machine, not running for re-election, has his receipts at just $1,500, less than it would cost.
That is not the clearest indication of the change once someone says they are stepping back from raising tens of millions of dollars, not only for himself, but the party. Wowza. I bet he has a little bit more free time on his hands.
Yes, I would say so. Johnson has also transferred more than $14 million to the NRCC and has funneled $10.5 million to individual House Republicans. The Johnson team says if you combine the CLF haul, which technically he's not allowed to fundraise directly for them outside of the legal limits, but you know, that's kind of, I mean, it's the law, but it's also not telling the full story. So if you combine the $60 million for CLF and the $50 million he has raised in hard money, that's a record for a Republican speaker, but a big quarter, no matter how you slice it, for the Louisiana Republican.
All right, let's move on to the top story of the morning. All eyes were on the rescissions package and what happens in the Senate today and this week. OMB Chief Russell Vought will meet with Senate Republicans today as the Senate Majority Leader John Thune tries to find the votes. There are still some skeptical Republicans here, namely Susan Collins, the Republican from Maine, having questions about PEPFAR. There's also concerns about public broadcasting money. It seems like this gets done, but it's Tuesday, Jake, right? I mean, this has to get done by Friday. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Well, it can't. Yeah, right. Exactly. It can't happen because of the statutory limitations on, the package, because based on when it came to Capitol Hill, Russ Vought coming to Senate Republican lunch today. And I think what they'll do is they'll just make changes. And Vought and OMB, having talked to a bunch of people over there, do not want to see changes. Obviously, this is their package, this $9.4 billion, and that's a billion with a B, not a ton of money in the grand scheme of things, but they don't want anything cut from this package. But what's interesting to me, and I thought was a great detail from Andrew and the team who wrote this, is that Susan Collins asked last week for OMB to provide details on how cuts will be implemented, especially on the foreign aid side, and Collins had not heard back from OMB as of Monday night, which was last night. And Collins said one frustration that many of us share is that we do not still have detailed information on many of the accounts, and we need that in order to make a decision. She has not said whether she'll vote for a motion to discharge the bill from her committee. I'm not going to project here, but I think it's really tenuous right now. And I'll say one more thing, Anna. We're already here. I spoke to Mike Johnson yesterday about this issue, and he said he is concerned about the cuts that are being made to this, the changes that are being made to this rescission package, and he wants the product left intact. He said, he kind of made a joke to me, which is, I once again hope that the Senate doesn't change this package.
It didn't work out so well last time. That the hopes and prayers that the Senate wasn't going to make changes, Jake.
Well, it worked out in the end, but Mika asked some conservatives for us about whether they're going to support the package, and Eric Burleson, a conservative Freedom Caucus type, said, I'd have to look at what they do. I probably won't vote against it, but I'll probably complain about it. And that's it. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to hear from the Freedom Caucus that they're going to vote against this thing, because they're not. So we could skip the whole drama nonsense, because they're going to vote for this thing, and they're going to, whether they like it or not, I don't know. But after they folded on the reconciliation package, we don't have any patience here to spend any time pretending that they're not going to vote for this package. So, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
All right, Jake, let's move on to the number 2 story of the morning. Michael Waltz on Capitol Hill. Senate Democrats looking to make it uncomfortable to start to dredge up some of the things that he was involved in as National Security Advisor. Expect this to be a pretty tenuous hearing, to say the least.
Yeah, very tense. Mike Waltz, once upon a time, not long ago, was the National Security Advisor, which it does not require a Senate confirmation. So this is his first Senate confirmation. And also you'll remember that there was already a Senate confirmation for a UN ambassador, one Elise Stefanik of the great state of New York. But Mike Waltz was kicked out of the National Security Advisor role. Trump said it was a promotion because whatever, over the Signalgate issue of him texting, however you might describe it, war plans to his colleagues on Signal and to Jeff Goldberg of The Atlantic, which he did not know. They're going to bring some of that up, and Jeanne Shaheen, the top Democrat on Senate Foreign Relations, will talk about policy. We'll talk about how he's going to conduct himself in Turtle Bay, where the United Nations is located. Shaheen's going to say, with your past support for Ukraine and clear-eyed views of threats of China, I hope you will push back on the administration's early missteps and some of your more misguided colleagues like Pete Hegseth. And this comes obviously at a very interesting moment, Anna, on foreign policy for the Trump administration, in which the president, Donald Trump, has said he's going to send Patriot missile batteries to NATO and then to Ukraine. So this is a very interesting moment in the Trump administration as Trump, to be honest with you, gets closer to traditional Republican orthodoxy when it comes to Ukraine and foreign intervention abroad.
And an opportunity for Democrats to take the mantle, right? To take the headline, to try to, kind of shame the Trump administration on a variety of issues, dredge up some of that embarrassing, Signalgate issues. We'll be interested to see how Waltz defends himself, whether he is very defensive. Now, how does he kind of respond to questions about how he's going to keep or not the president in check on a variety of issues, particularly as foreign policy, as you note, is so critical right now. Let's move on to the number 3 story of the morning from the Vault, our financial services and tax coverage. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer has been waiting a long time for this week. Our very own Brendan Peterson writes, he says, Emmer is one of Washington's oldest supporters of the crypto industry. Now the sector is on the verge of some major legislative triumphs. It is Crypto Week in Washington, Jake.
Yes, it is. And Tom Emmer, as Brendan notes, is one of the OG supporters of crypto. And Brendan sat down with him yesterday to talk about crypto, Washington, and Trump's expanding crypto empire. I mean, Brendan makes a good point in a lot of what he writes about crypto, which he writes a lot about, because this is one of the big financial services issues of our time, not meaning of the last 100 years, but certainly contemporary times. This comes as the president's making some large amount of money, we don't know how much necessarily, on crypto, on various crypto ecosystems that the president's family is involved in. So the House is going to vote this week on Clarity and on Genius. And those are two, both a market structure bill and a crypto bill. And Emmer is in the driver's seat in many ways. He's the House Majority Whip, and he is also on the Financial Services Committee. And here's how Tom Emmer responded when Brendan asked about about the Trump family's crypto investments. He said, I know it's your job to ask these questions, but I've got to tell you, Trump's family was incredibly successful before Donald Trump became president. Very true. I'd focus, but, not material to the question Brendan was asking. I'd prefer to focus on the fact that when we talk about digital assets, whether that's crypto or other, this is not a Republican or Democratic issue. This is an American issue. And I will say this, Anna, to Congress's credit, I guess, it depends how you look at it, but this will be most likely a bipartisan vote to get this stuff out of the House of Representatives and to the president's desk. And Anna, you hear this a lot, but crypto and the rules of the road for digital assets is just one of the big regulatory and guardrail issues of our time.
Certainly of the last, couple of years. And I would say even, I think what's interesting is just how it's transformed. I mean, from kind of an issue that was really more people were against it. And Emmer, a longtime supporter, but there were a lot of skeptics here. And now across the board, you have Republicans and Democrats trying to get their arms around this technology, around whether it's stablecoin or, how exactly, who's going to regulate it? Is it a commodity? Is it a currency? There's a lot of things that are still left to be decided here, and certainly are going to be something that we at the Vault and our financial services and tax coverage are going to be covering for years to come. All right, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media, tell your friends, and of course, subscribe to us on YouTube. As always, you can go deeper on all things Punchbowl News at punchbowl.news. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.